Hiya. You right?
Sunny.
Yeah.
At least we know it's not sunny. It's boiling.
Yeah. It is so hot. That's on my number one on my agenda of things to talk about. Is it's so hot? How am I looking? Because I'm using my mobile phone camera because I think it's better. I'm looking at the screen. I think at least you can see me. Normally I look like I'm sitting in the dark. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you okay. Do you want to try putting your phone camera to the landscape? Is that not possible with the charger, or?
It is. Oh. Yeah. There.
Oh, but my little fan's
There
back. Oh, geez. Hello to everybody, and well done for managing to join in with the kitchen sink today. It is bloody boiling. I know it's very British to wang on about the weather, as Bridgman would say.
Yeah.
But, oh, lordy.
Yeah. Yes. Did you have thunder and lightning last night at yours?
No. So all of the Welsh contingent on my Facebook, they were all sharing video after video of what looked like Armageddon. I saw the
Brilliant.
video that you commented on, and I agree. It looked like a cloud in the shape of a willy having a lightning attack.
Someone I don't know
really
underneath that commented, shocking. I like to think it was a pun. I haven't commented back rather than, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. You know. And after I posted it, I'm like, oh my God, I've got a work colleague on here. Shit.
Hello, Luke. So with Larry Morgan, our previous kitchen sink guest, she was having a dance, or at least doing a fake weather report outside. But I was just looking through the internet, and I had my phone on mute, and she looked very risky. She was making a weather report, and she sort of grabbed her chest, and I thought, what's she on about? And that was apparently her way of saying it's wet by checking her chest.
Okay.
I was like, I
Yeah,
need to replay this, but I need to replay it with noise.
Yeah. What's going on?
So how's your week been, darling?
Really good actually. I have got I sat here as I was waiting, I was backstage waiting to like come into the room and get started. I'm like, oh God, I've forgotten to do the theme tune. So I've just written the theme tune verse. Do you want to hear it?
I am all over this. I cannot
take your
wait.
abject silence as a yes.
I said yes.
Oh, right, okay, cool. Yeah. Don't give me shit now, lady. You are on mine. You're
I was
pausing
wondering
a little bit. Yeah, it's pausing a bit.
Brilliant. So I'm not using my really expensive microphone. Perfect. And I've just got my expensive ISDL plugged in, and that's not working as well. 2020, if you're listening, fuck off.
Yeah. Oh, and do you know what? Talking about tech, at 4:30, I was like, my internet kept dropping out all day. So at 4:30, I just turned the router off for like the third time completely, and then replugged everything in. And so far, it's been all right. It's been all right so far. Okay, here, see what you think. Lyrics, see what you think. Okay, it's Lucy and Sarah at the kitchen sink. We'll talk about anything. What do you think? It's mainly comedy. We like to have a laugh. And if we get too hot, I guess we'll have a bath. I think we need to work on the ending, but maybe.
I mean, it was scanning, and I'm with you, but it just slipped off towards that last line.
Oh, is it? Do you think? I think it's just because I'm so hot at the moment.
How can we shoehorn in a giraffe there? Giraffe, laugh, bath, math.
Some of our trolls are having a giraffe.
For our listeners in Nigeria, that's a rhyming slang.
Yeah. Yeah. When you come to London, Nigeria listener, having a giraffe means having a laugh. It's
Yeah.
obviously rhyming slang. Yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can turn this up a bit. Oh, I should have done this earlier, shouldn't I? Hang on. Is that my volume? Yes, my volume's up. Right, okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So my week, my driver's license came back,
Oh, Lucy,
and
how's your
I
week been?
yes. So I had ticked one extra box, and because of that, even though they were holding my license with all my driver's qualifications, for those who don't know the show, um, not just a comedian, I'm also a truck driver, and you have to renew your license. And I put one extra cross, so they assumed I was just a young kid asking for a provisional license, and they graded the application with a red pen, like a 5-year-old doing an A-level exam. Although we don't do exams anymore because of COVID, but it took ages to come back. And if they had just ignored that one cross, the whole form would have been correct. But obviously, that's not how
Ah.
my year is going, which means the job I've applied for won't get back in touch with me because my license is still not valid.
Oh, how
I'm
frustrating.
trying to
So
keep a
sorry.
smiley face.
So
Oh, and
annoying.
my ex-friend decided that I needed, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, that I needed these poncy sort of magic, sort of dice-looking dust caps on my wheel hubs because he thought
Right.
they looked really cool.
Mhm.
They've corroded. I can't get them off, and I have to go to the garage tomorrow to get new valves put on my tyres.
Hmm. Fun day for a Friday.
Oh,
Off
it's
to
so much fun! It's so much fun. The comedy is oozing out of me like sweat.
bed. How have your other shows gone this week? How was the Lucy show this week?
Oh, the Lucy show was fine, 75% of the way in. It was all fine, having a lovely time. And then my mother sort of looks through the door and goes, "Oh," and runs out. And somehow 3 bats had got into the house.
Oh my gosh,
It's
I
because
love
we could
that.
hear the cats, we could hear them rumbling back and forth. I mean, they're only tiny cats, but when they run up and down the upstairs, it sounds like a herd of elephants.
Right,
And we could hear this really enthusiastic sort of do 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 do.
I
And
love
I'm sort of
that. I
trying to do
love
my
sounds like
show,
that. Yeah,
laughing, ha 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 ha. Next thing you
yeah.
know, my parents are upstairs chasing 3 bats. One is in my room, and they've decided
Right.
just to shut the door and see if it goes out by itself. And I'm like, I am going to need that eventually. I mean, is there a more proactive course of action we could take than just hoping? Um,
How
I
big
don't
is
know
the
if
window?
I don't know if bats are part of the apocalypse, but at the moment, I'm taking everything as a sign.
Yeah. Well, listen, what comes after thunder and lightning and massive storms? Oh, plague of bats, of course.
There
I'll
we
just
go.
check my Bible. Oh yeah, plague of bats. Plague of bats is Lucy.
So how many times have you gone down to the beach and just laid there and loved it?
Can you tell?
You look
Twice this
too
week.
zen.
I am. This week I've decided because I'm self-employed, and when you're self-employed, you don't really have time off ever. And but this week I went, you know what, I've had, it's very rare. I've had no inquiries for anything. I haven't had to follow anything up, and I'm just all week I've been like, I'm on holiday and kind of praying I don't have to do anything. So this, and I've got something on tomorrow afternoon, is the only stuff I've got on this week. But it is weird when you're self-employed, you just can't really relax. Even though you're like, I'm on holiday, I feel guilty. I feel like, oh, I should be doing something really, but no. And I've put my second TEFL assignment in last week, so yay! So I've just got that the result of that will probably come back on Monday, and then it'll be my third one, and then it'll be the end. So I've got one more week of hell to go with my tackle, and then I'm pretty much done. But yeah, this week has been amazing. Went down Horton Beach twice. Yesterday was like such a perfect beach day. It was so hot and so lovely. I was with my friend and we just spent the whole day just eating and sunbathing and swimming and trying to social distance. But there were people coming onto the beach and deciding that they just had to be near us because we have such amazing electricity for the whole beach, I'm guessing. So we had to move over a bit.
You sent me a picture and you looked like having a lovely time, but the beach didn't look crowded. And it's
Mm,
amazing how I think it's the same theory. You know, when you park in an empty car park and go in a shop,
mm.
when you come back out, there will be a car parked in the parking space next to you.
Even if it's empty. Yeah, even in an empty car park. Yeah.
I think that's the same. I mean, some of the pictures I've seen of beaches have made my anxiety just go, woo, no way,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, but apparently, I wonder if Ali will be in the room tonight. But apparently, because she's a photography expert, that there is a photography thing they do on the papers to make it look more crowded than it is. And I don't know what the technique is, but my niece, she's got GCSE photography, has also said there is some sort of technique. I don't know what it is, but they make it somehow look much more crowded than it is. If anyone knows, let us know in the chat.
I want to say that there will be some sort of special editing. I accept that, but part
Mhm.
of me also thinks that you can't do trickery without there being a lot of fuckery.
Yeah,
There's going to be a
that's,
lot of
that's
people on that. They
newspapers.
can't insert the people.
That is newspapers for you. They are bullshit. No, there's definitely a technique. I don't know if anyone watching
um,
uh knows, or if you're hearing this on the podcast, if you can message us on the Facebook group and let us know, that'd be great. Or I might just ask her. I might message Ali. Should I message Ali now? Oh, we're online.
messenger and reminder that there's a show on. um, my my Pokemon addiction. It's an addiction now.
Oh, still
Um,
raging. Yeah.
still raging. Just in my local village, by in the little car park, there are two Pokemon gyms, and one of them is in the play park. And if you park in a certain place in the car park, you can sit in
Yeah.
your car and take over both gyms. And
Yeah.
I'm just sort of like, sodding kids, get out of these gyms. This is my village. Sod you. Pay some tax. Fuck off.
Yeah. You leeches. You just leech off everyone.
What are you bringing to the table exactly? Nothing. Now get
Yeah.
out my gym.
Yeah. Step aside, you disease-ridden little animal.
And I'm wondering, the picture might still be here, left over from the Lucy show, but
Yeah.
I'll bring it up on the screen because I've left it up, right. So an example of a Pokemon that was in my little lane. All right, Sarah, have a look at the screen and tell me what
Ah,
you think that is.
looks like a duck. I'm on it like, oh, is it something to do? I've got no idea their names. Is it like a unique smudge or something? They'll
It
call
looks
it
like a
something like that.
sperm with a pair of testicles.
Well,
All I
now
can
you
see,
mention it. Well, the
all
tails
I
are
can
all,
see is
yeah.
a sperm.
Oh, yeah. That's not appropriate for children
I was
who are the
not
people
catching
normally
that.
play Pokemon. Oh my God, I'm so
I'm
hot.
not
I should
catching
open
that.
the
I
window.
I refused. I refused to catch it. I do not want that in my life. I've made an absolute decision in life to avoid all things that look like that. I was like, I'm closing the app.
Ew.
We're going home.
Is that the end of your addiction? Maybe they're helping you out. Maybe like this woman
Yeah.
is playing Pokemon way too much. Let's put her off with a bit of the old spoon Amon. Is that
Well,
what was the name
then
of
I
it?
decided it was a caster form,
Caster form.
foreshortening,
Ah,
for something.
foreshortening. That is my brother-in-law, Richard Hornsby.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Rich.
I decided I was in a grump. I didn't have any time, and I let my little Pokemon buddy Pikachu starve, and I couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered. And then I felt really bad, so I did everything I needed to
Oh,
do, and
I
then
think I've got
and then I
one
got
an egg
nothing
one.
for it.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did everything it wanted me to do, and then it didn't do anything in
Mhm.
return.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So I was like, if I do
Yeah.
everything you want and I don't get anything in return, you can starve. Sod you. And then all of a sudden, it found me a bunch of flowers.
Oh.
Oh, it's good. Oh, it's
Do
good.
you feel bad
Hales
for
Corny.
do you feel bad for
Guilt trip.
starving it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And Hales Corny said she gets so upset with hers
Yeah.
that she gets like she goes out walking deliberately because she doesn't want his mental health to be affected. It really gets into your psyche. It really plays on the heartstrings.
Oh. Well, I
So we
forgot about mine. Ali helped
yeah.
me. She put one in an egg, and I haven't been on it since. Sorry, they're just digits.
Hello, Sarah, I'm trapped.
I'm really hungry. Like, I'm a bit thirsty. Mm. I've been rubbish with the takomachi. Do you remember those?
Oh, oh, oh,
Tamagotchis.
Tamagotchi.
Every
That's
watcher
right.
will know what that is.
Well, we weren't allowed to take ours into school, so I had to
Hmm.
leave it with my mother during the day, and she'd be working self-employed in their own shop, selling carpets and rugs, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden something would be like beep 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 beep, and she's there dealing with a customer, and she'd be like, "I'm terribly sorry, I just need to feed my daughter's toy." Get the drawer out, press the bloody button, and the amount of
Yeah.
adults that were just like, "I'm exactly the same. I don't know why I bought this piece of equipment for my child because they can't take it to school. It has to be
Yeah.
looked after 24 hours a day." So
And
parents
who's
during
looking
the mid
after it?
90s, yeah,
Yeah.
parents during the mid 90s just paid for their own annoyance.
Yeah. Well, it's good though, is that it's in place of a live pet. So if the kid can't look after an electronic pet, that's a good sign. Don't get the hamster, isn't it? Leave the hamster in Pets R Us, or other
so,
pet
did,
shops are available.
so did
Unfortunately,
you do a family quiz this week?
we did do a family quiz. Well, no,
And
family quiz is the end of it. We did ours on. Oh God, I was in such a bad mood. Apologies to my family. I was awful because I went on holiday with everyone a couple of weeks ago.
mm-hmm.
And we had some lovely food. It was amazing. I had hummus fry, not hummus, what's the other one? Halloumi fries
Mm.
and dip. And we had this amazing Greek food for Richard's birthday. And it was just mwah, absolutely gorgeous. And then I struggled to go, let's not have ice cream. Let's not carry on with the party feel. Because I'm like, I'm kind of on holiday. So by Sunday, I was on the third day of going back to being quite strict on the old food front, and you know what that's like, isn't it? It's like when you're detoxing yourself of all the sugar and the fat and all the crap and everything. And I don't think I'd eaten enough. And I got to the house, and my mum the telly was blaring. My dad was tapping away at the tablet. I'm like, I haven't done the Zoom thing yet. Come on. And then my dad did all of the questions. They were really hard. And I just felt like a complete idiot. And I just got more and more stroppy. But yeah, we did do the quiz. But this week I was in the team with my mum. And this week's quiz is tomorrow night. And I'm in the team with my mum again. I don't even know what to do, and we're all doing our own questions. So it should be better this week. But who knows?
It does sound like your dad likes to go like hard in on the like history questions that. So hang
He
on,
does
when
make
your
things.
father does these difficult questions, are there any other people in the family that are going, "Oh yeah, that'll be 1842"?
Yes, that's what annoys me. My sister and her husband, Rich, my sister Claire and her husband are very intelligent, and my niece is very intelligent, and I am intelligent, but I'm a creative. I don't have a brain for I don't know who Henry VIII eight wives were. I knew one of them was Catherine of Aragon. Every week, we it's the drinking game now. Henry VIII will come up, and Winston bloody Churchill will come up every week. And it's like,
Because that was his
I
middle name.
don't know. And I was gonna bloody do so. I found a book on Henry VIII today. I'm like, should I actually do some research on it? And I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. He lived hundreds of years ago. I'm like, I like history, I'm interested, but my brain will not keep the information, and that's fine. There's lots of different types of intelligence. I do not have a good memory recall for that kind of shit.
I don't think you need to read a book per se. I think maybe
Not for
just
the
a quick
family quiz.
Google, just a quick Google of maybe top 20 facts. I mean, do you know the rhyme?
Yeah, but they're not necessarily going to be the facts that come up. I do know some facts. I tell you what it is, though. I think it's because I'm a doer. I love experiences. I love going and doing stuff. I remember doing things. I don't care to remember what happened 500 years ago in the royal family.
Right,
I
so
know.
unless you can actually do Henry VIII, you're not going to get through this test.
I don't think I'd want to do Henry. I think Harry they probably looked like a fat Harry. You know, Prince Harry. I reckon. You know, because the rumor is, isn't it, that Charles isn't necessarily Prince Harry's father.
I don't agree with it because he looks like
I
everybody in
don't
the royal
either.
family.
Yeah, I think it's just because Di used to flirt with a ginger bloke. But who knows? Who cares really? But I think that he looks like a skinny Henry VIII. So he probably is that even the same family anymore? I don't know. I'm not good at these things. And do you know
I
what? I
think we
have got
went a
a
little
kitchen
bit.
sink.
Say
Sorry.
that again.
I've got a
We
kitchen sink
we
on my
went.
computer. The chat's not coming up. I can't see anyone's chat at all.
Right, that's because we're going over so many different platforms. We've got customers, we've got viewers from so many different directions. So we've got the joke pits pages and
Right.
our pages, and
Mm-hmm.
they're all sort of we're all amalgamating into one central point, and I can bring the chat up. So
Right.
unfortunately, you're going to have to rely upon myself. So
All right.
a big
Great.
big hello to Hugh there. Please feel free to get involved in on the chat.
Thank
And the other
you.
thing is, once we have our guest on, who'll be
Yeah.
coming up very shortly, after that we have a separate. So the sections is section 1. We have a little chat, catch up, see how we've been. Just get it off our chest, really. Section 2, we get an amazing guest on to try and talk about comedy, but we will not stop the chat going whichever direction the chat wants to go. It could be that we talk about, the philosophy behind comedy, or how to paint your house. There really is no subjects we won't cover. And then the third section is where Sarah and I review a comedy show. And this week we are going to be reviewing The Golden Girls.
Yes, I'm
Oh, I
excited
wonder
to
if you
talk about
both
this.
like it.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about it. And if anyone who, I don't know if we put it on the page. I'm so sorry. I've been in holiday mode, so I've been ignoring everything really. On did we put it on the page that we were reviewing the Golden Girls this week?
I'm 40%
Well, if
sure
anyone's
we
ever
didn't.
seen it, feel free to join in on the chat
To be
anyway.
honest, yeah, it's very unlikely that our demographic will have not heard of them.
No. Well,
And on this,
no.
and then on this
I mean,
week's music review, we're going to be covering the Beatles.
oh, you're not that old. You're not that old. You're about 10 years younger than me.
I know, but I'm just making a reference that we're reviewing something everybody's heard of, not the age. So calm your knickers down, Zen woman.
Okay.
Just because you're on the back foot because you didn't make us a theme tune.
I did. Look, did you not hear me earlier? It's Lucy and Sarah at the kit. Okay, fair enough. But I have got I have got some lyrics. That'll be as good as anything. I'll take weeks to put together, I have to tell you.
Oh, Street View map, Street View.
Street view map. Is it just me or is it a little bit
A little
crap?
bit
It
crap.
is actually. I'm dated. Yes, if you want to see me be or do street view. Oh, songs, eh?
My addiction to TikTok has strengthened, blooming. I have now got 285 followers. I'm
How many?
basically viral.
Wow.
285.
What's going to
And
happen when you're TikTok famous? Are you still going to do this with me? Or are you going to be like, see you, bitch? Or are you going to get someone better than me on here to do this with you?
darling, I use this to advertise my shows.
Right. Yeah.
I use TikTok. I do funny videos, cat videos, and I do advertising my stuff videos, and I sort of
Right.
mix them in. But
Lovely.
what gets me is I learned a really complicated dance, and I've had
Mm-hmm.
5 views. A video
Mm-hmm.
of my cat sleeping has had 300 views.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God. So what the universe is telling me is, can you stop putting yourself in your videos? You're getting in the way of the cat.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
It's just not better, but
Oh,
I've become a bit obsessed. There's these videos where Americans are unable to Google.
yeah.
So you can do a thing where you do a video and then somebody can click duet and then their camera screen runs in line with this video. So
Uh-huh.
you can say, oh, what's 1 + 1? Da, 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 da. Then somebody can come up, you say it, and then they can go 2. So there's Americans that are like, questions to British people. And I
Right.
swear to God, Sarah, it starts with, so do you guys have milk?
No. Really?
And then it
They
goes,
don't know if you've
is
got milk.
is London in the UK or is the UK in London? And do they have milk there? I was like, you are, this is bait. This is bait. You're taking the piss now.
Yeah.
And then she was like, so what's a handbag?
Oh, fuck off. Sorry for the early evening swear, but come on. That's ridiculous.
sorry,
What's a
sorry,
handbag?
sorry for the language. But
I'm on
it
holiday.
doesn't look
Fuck
as
it.
though she was doing it for bait. I know.
She
This
genuinely
young
was
girl
stupid.
honestly looks though.
She would
Yeah,
not laugh
she
from
wants to
our
know
family
British
quiz.
people. No. And the best thing is I looked through all the duet videos and it's
Hmm.
just British people going, fuck off, love. She's only young. And it's just series
Oh,
of people over the age of 40 going, are you having a giraffe, mate? Are you kidding me? No way.
yeah. Oh, bless her. That's so sweet. And she's
it's,
young, is she?
it's yeah, she is really young, but it is a case of, have you heard of Google? There are other ways to determine information than TikTok.
Mm, yeah.
And I
Well, there
had
was that
I had
really
one
famous.
person follow my, you go.
Thank you. There was that really famous TikTok one. It's all over Twitter as well. That woman going, "I am now going to show you how to make British tea," and she like put like milk, water, tea bag, sugar in a microwave. She whisked it up, and it's just like horrific. This and like it was full of British people going, "No, that is not tea. That's disgusting." Like she put it in a microwave. It was
She
mad.
made she made British eggs the other day and it involved putting
No.
sugar into scrambled eggs.
Oh, actually. After reading
How can
about
we
anything, I'm
increase
like,
it? Right, my
yeah,
love. Well, we've
I'm
got
just
a
like,
guest in the dining room waiting to join us
oh,
at the kitchen
lovely.
sink.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't like to keep them in the dining room for too long.
It is odd, isn't it, that we force people from a nice room in the house into the kitchen. to talk to us
Well, we
for an hour.
decided it wasn't right to keep them in the pantry, so at least they're not
That's
standing
right.
next to the tinned goods.
And they're not in the garden with the thunder and lightning, so it couldn't be
Exactly.
worse.
So I'm gonna press a couple of buttons, and with
Okay.
no further ado, we're going to bring on the delicious, the delectable Arielle.
Hey, ladies.
Yay! Hello, Arielle.
Hey, nice to
Hello.
Bonjour.
Hi.
Comment tapo-tu?
Oh, okay.
No.
I just realized that was an attempt to French. Okay. Comment après-tu, that was the translation.
I don't know what that was. That's all I can tell you all the French I've learned.
No, please don't. I hate when people do that.
Fantastic. So sorry. I hope I haven't offended our guests. Straight away. Hi, a
Hey,
friend.
let's keep it in English, please.
Thank you so
So,
much for coming on.
introduction.
It's lovely to see you.
My name is Lucy. This is Sarah, and welcome to the kitchen sink. We are so grateful that in this ridiculous heat that you not just messaged us and went, no, not today.
Actually.
I just put on clothes just for you. So,
Oh, thank you.
anyway,
Oh, it's lovely. I love a red.
I love red. It's my favorite
I
color.
just want to get out the jealousy just because I listened to your Drunk Women podcast last night, and I love that podcast so much. And I am not lying. I was equally excited to hear your show, and I was like, oh, how do you get on that? Like, fabulous, obviously.
No, I was surprised myself when I did another podcast with the producer of the crime show, and she asked me to be on it, and I'm like, well, crime, I love that, you know. So I did another podcast, so I listened to one, like, oh my God, I love it. And then I ended up listening to all of them. It was so good, and there were so many very high class guests, and I'm like, oh, you should want me there. You know what I mean? I'm not award winning anything, but oh my God, it was so fun. I love it. As of crime, guys. Yeah. So if there's any murder anywhere, just call me.
Did you do it? You didn't actually go to them. You did it. Did you do it through the internet because of
Zoom. Yeah. Just like now.
So did they make you get drunk in your own house?
No, I don't drink. They know that. They know that. But we have a drink. I mean, I've got my tea and thing, and the drink. And yeah, you heard the podcast. Yeah, the girl seems to be a bit out of it. So definitely Drunk Women. So that's the best
for our viewers and listeners. So for our viewers and listeners that don't know this show, it's called the Drunk Women Solving Crime Podcast, and they're sponsored by Unicorn Tears Gin, Bidu Ales. And what the girls do is they get together, and all you can hear is clinking of bottles all the way through the recording, and they have a good couple rounds of drinks before they even start. Then one person hosts a crime, and everyone joins in, but you can hear them going, "I can't read my writing. I'm too drunk. Something about a stabbing? I don't know." Perfect. Oh, so you're based in South London. Are you still in South London, or have you evacuated to the countryside during this unprecedented time?
No, I'm still in South London. Still in South London. It's like I can't go nowhere. I'm stuck. Yeah.
Do you have a garden?
Yeah, I'm in Devon.
Devon, good. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah,
I'm in South Wales.
Oh wow!
So, yes, I'm on the edge of the Gower. So you know, it was when lockdown first started, and we were all terrified. And you know, I used to get all excited because I go, I don't care if anyone tells me I'm only allowed to leave the house once a day. I'm going out twice, and feel the same kind of excitement that you get when you were drinking underage. I used to do that, but now we're, you know, even I'm within 5 miles of the beach. So in Wales, we had to stay local for a long while. And we are about 3 weeks behind England. Whenever England do anything, our First Minister Mark Drakeford goes, "Oh, we're not doing that," and then 3 weeks later we do. It's very frustrating. So, but it is lovely. We're really lucky because it's really lovely, countryside and stuff. But Swansea's really nice. Cardiff's quite nice. Well, we're all quite nice in Wales. It's a very nice area.
Oh, good, Devon, and wow, Devon and Wales, exotic.
Yeah. I love London. I lived in London for about 2 months when I was 19. I was meant to be a nanny, but I wasn't employed. I wasn't. I didn't have the qualifications, and the woman was paying me on the side. Don't check me out, DWP. And I got sacked for talking to the other nannies about the woman because she was so horrible. And she went, "We don't like it. You can go." I'm like, "I'm off then. Ta-ra." I love London. I go there, I try and get there every year. It's so good.
Yeah, I came here not as a nanny but as an au pair.
Wow.
So it was about the same. Yeah, I was first in, where was that? Maidenhead. Then I moved to Cashleton Beaches, and eventually I went to Earthfield, which is near Wandsworth, and then Streatham and Brixton. So yes, because when I'm like, oh, Maidenhead, how far am I from London? When you're in a foreign country, come from France, your dream is not to go to Maidenhead. I'm sorry. Where's London? I'm looking for Oxford Street. Where is it? No, come on.
It's quite away from London, isn't it, Maidenhead?
Yeah.
I was in Ladbroke Grove, and the husband was a partner in a bank. They were loaded, and they owned the house they were in. And hello. And they were so cheap. They only paid me like 50 quid a week, and I looked after it. It's like, young girls get taken advantage of for this kind of thing. This is 20 years ago now, right? No, even longer than that, nearly 30 years ago when this happened. But I loved it, and the kids were lovely. But now I'm like, oh my God, they must be 30 odd now, these kids.
You know what? I work for the railway, yes. And I was stationed in Cashleton Beaches. I was au pair there, yeah? And I think it was like 2 years ago. This Asian woman came, and I served her, and she looked at me, and I look at her, I'm like, is that her? And she looked at me like, is that her? And then she got a ticket and she left. And maybe a few days later, someone else came, a young boy, and he came straight to me like, "Oh, do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Should I?" "Yes, you look after me when you were au pair when I was little." I'm like, "Oh, so it was your mom." I remember him. He was such a piece of shit. Trust me. He used to call me fatty and stuff.
Oh no!
And I complained to the mom, but the dad was a doctor, and he tried to talk to the child, but it was the little woman that was holding the whole thing together. She was nasty, man.
Yeah, this woman I worked for was she was a lady who learnt. She basically just needed a babysitter for 2 hours. She wanted me to do all the food and everything. And as a young girl from South Wales, I'm like, I didn't understand. She was there all the time. She was there the whole day. She would show me. She watched everything I did, and I'm like, why aren't you doing this? This is so weird. Why have you got me here for you to just? I think she just didn't have enough to do. And then she'd just go out and have lunch for 2 hours and then come back, and she'd be really nervous if I took the kids out or anything. I'm like, this is so bizarre. Why not just pay for a qualified nanny rather than have some little girl from Wales come up? Oh yeah, you're right. And I taught the little boy. I was like, okie dokie, and being all lovely, like I would be with my nanny.
How old were the kids?
They didn't like it. It's so bizarre.
How old were the kids?
3 and 5.
Oh, that's very well they did, but maybe she didn't like her children that much.
Probably not.
Yeah.
They were little shits as well. They were lovely. They were cute, but they were so clever. The 3-year-old, she'd say to Lexi, the boy was Lexi, and I cannot remember the name of the girl. It's awful, isn't it? But she would say, I caught her saying to him, distract Sarah so I can go in the cupboard and get the sweet. That cold. She's probably in prison. She was 3 when she did that. That is super, super cold.
I used to be a teacher, and I just saw I just saw it sort of pop up on my notifications that one of the girls that I used to teach had a birthday, and she's 27. And I've got a ruling now that all of my old students, if anyone says, how do you know each other? The ruling is to say that we met in school. They are not to say I was their teacher, because then that makes me old.
Wow.
In fact, a lot of them wear quite a lot of makeup. They look older than me. So I'm just like, we know each other just from school. I was not the teacher.
Yeah, young people, they look so old. And you know, when you say your age and people are like, oh, you look young. I'm like, you know what? I think I look my age. The problem is young people. They look like shit. It's not me. I look, you know what I mean? I look normal. Young people look shit. That's it. You know what I mean?
Well, when people find out my age, they get pissy with me because my other job is being a truck driver, and people will give me a little bit of an extra help because they think I'm young. And then when I say I'm 39, they feel cheated that they helped somebody out and that I should know better and I should be able to do it myself. So it's like, hang on, you made the assumption I needed your help. I'm going to let you do work for me if you feel this is what you need to do. I didn't ask for your help. You gave me your help. There was no trick. This is not a confidence scam. I didn't lure you into doing anything for me that you now feel cheated by. But they're like, oh, I didn't know you were that old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But you're currently working on the trains. Is that am I reading it right?
Not on the train, at the station.
At the station.
Yeah.
Is that a tube station then?
No, it's a overground station on Road 4. Yes, no need to say where it was because no one knows this little town. But I was recently in the metro, the local metro. I didn't even know because a lady managed to fall into the track.
Oh yeah, I saw about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know, they mind the gap, bloody mind the gap, guys. Yeah, it was a bit weird look. I'm like, oh my god, but she didn't panic, otherwise it could have got so worse. You know what I mean? But eventually managed to get her out. You know, ambulance, all the blah blah that needs to go with it, and she seems less traumatized than her family was waiting for her. You know, so I had to calm down the family and. It was weird, but 3 days later, she sent me a bouquet of flowers, so that was cute.
Oh,
that was cute. But I don't think I was the two customers that helped her before I arrived were really top. You know what I mean? Not me. You know what I mean? They really did everything. One of them had blood all over his t-shirt and everything. Yeah, and you know. We all wear masks and we're touching her with blood. I'm like, what are you wearing a mask for? You know what I mean? Because there's no COVID where someone really needs help. It's not like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to touch you.
Yeah.
The human instinct kicks in, doesn't it?
Covered in your blood, but can you breathe that way?
Yeah. Exactly. What an horrendous day I had, seriously. And then 2 days later, another one fell in front of me. I'm like, seriously, is there a hidden camera in this station? I'm like, is someone pushing someone on purpose on my shift? Can I just have a simple day, please? You know what I mean?
I saw that you posted it, And I thought, okay, yeah, obviously that is why they say mind the gap. But in my head, whenever I think of the gap, it's just about 4 inches. I mean,
Yeah.
and then all the replies to
No. Some
your
pictures
post was
we
like,
can put a human being in between, and the
Oh,
lady
wow.
wasn't thin. Okay, and I'm like, how the hell did she manage? Miss the gap and then fall on the platform. Yes, no, she managed
Oh,
to get in there. I'm like,
oh.
okay, what the hell
Oh,
happened?
God.
because a woman replied to your post and said, "Oh, my dog fell down the gap. I had to lie on my chest and managed to push scoop the dog up." And I'm like, have I mean, maybe I don't use enough train transportation.
Mm.
But I mean, like, everybody jumped on your post, like, yeah, it's happened to me. Yeah, I've seen it. Like we are the ones that are left out by thinking, is this that frequent?
Yeah, there are. I didn't know it was African, but it is really. I mean, I've seen some gap at some stations that's so much worse. But everyone started panicking. I mean, the head office and everything asking me questions. Oh, what happened? Blah blah blah. Hold on. What about me? Let me just calm down. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
see if I'm okay first. But because
Yeah.
they want to watch their back first, you know what I mean? Because the lady says she's okay, but apparently they got 1 to 2 years to claim compensation if they want to.
Right.
So she's okay for the moment, but wait until it really kick her head like, hold on, I could
Yeah.
have died here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And your first instinct, has anyone ever fallen over in public? And it's a bit embarrassing. You trip over and like proper fall down. That's happened. And one of our first guests, Louise Lee, was saying about how she fell over. But you just want to go, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. It must be like an instinct thing. Like, I'm not weak, I'm not vulnerable, I don't need anyone, I'm fine. And then shock kicks in, and exactly like you say, and then you get home, and especially if you're the family, like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. Oh, you should be compensated for that. And yeah.
Exactly.
Did
Well,
you have to fill in an accident form and stuff?
I have to fill up form after accident form indeed, and because they were asking me so many things to do, and I'm like, hold on, I thought I was fine, but actually I'm not fine. Yes, it's
Mm.
okay. It could have been worse, and that's when things started kicking. Like, hold on, I'm alone at the station.
Mm.
And what I told whoever asked me, how you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not okay actually, because I'm alone in that station. You got procedure that only works in station where there is a lot of people in, not in station like there's only one person. One person is supposed to call everyone, the managers, the control, whatever, plus look after the other customers, crowd control, give the first aid, be on the phone with the ambulance. Hello, it's just not happening.
See,
Yeah.
I don't mean to be unsympathetic, but there is a big sign on the train saying "mind the gap" from the train out, and then from the platform in, there is a line across the bottom saying "mind the gap." Plus, there is a noise constantly going, "mind the gap." I mean, how much more clearer do you need to make it, short of an inflatable bumper that, as the train pulls in, like this little cushion appears?
So mind the gap, but imagine the gap that is that big. We're talking about a small lady. Even me who's stolen food, when I get off or on some of those stations, it's not easy. So mind the gap or not, oh yeah, I'm minding, but I still can't get out. And you can just be, something happened, you lose your, anything can happen, you lose your attention and bang, that's it. Why is there a gap there? What is it in this country that you got such a big gap? I don't understand. But apparently it would cost millions to sort it out. So maybe it's better to give a payout. It will be cheaper to give a payout than just sort out the whole infrastructure.
See, when you climb out of a truck cab, you've got 4 steps. So it starts where your feet usually are with the pedals, and then you've got 3 more. And you've got 2 bars, and it's always 3 points of contact, and you know what you're doing. You always climb it down. But if you ever get into a truck with 3 steps instead of 4, It is like you lose all sense of ability, and thank God you're holding on, because you are just hanging there by your own arms, because you are used to just doing a certain space, and the minute that space is changed, you look like you've never been in a truck before, like you've stolen it and you've just fallen out face first. I've gone on my ass so many times. It's just
Oh,
climbing a ladder. It's just
yeah.
climbing a ladder. It's a really
Yeah.
small one as well.
I
Oh,
can't imagine what it's
no.
like getting into a truck. It's bad enough getting into a Land Rover. You know, you having to hook yourself up. Is it like that? Is it like hiking yourself up into the thing, Lucy?
Well, you get to the point where you can sort of leap like a young gazelle, and you just hold
Yeah,
on to the wall because it is so second nature. You know your footings, like when you go in your house, you know
yeah,
where the stairs are. Or even
right.
when you get up to the sofa, maybe you've got the lights off, but you can get into the kitchen. And you know every turn. You over a certain amount of time, do you learn your own path?
Mm.
But there are certain people that like to get out facing outwards because
Hmm.
it makes them look cooler. And there is nothing more enjoyable than watching a guy showing off and falling over.
Oh, that you would
Mwah.
go, you go completely
It
flat on your
is
face, wouldn't you?
beautiful. They're just
Oh
like,
my
I know
God.
what I'm doing. Woo!
Yeah, I'm being a knob.
Oh, God.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, so we just need to know technique, isn't it? Whatever happened, like even pushes. Sometimes you got a little step or something, and some people, when I say people, basically men. Okay, instead of turning the trolley around and just taking from backward, they just want to go head on. No, I look at like, no, man, just turn the damn thing around. It's just no. But never mind. Yeah, Luke Logan said the UK is known for its big gaps. Yeah, the problem is, yeah, the infrastructure is there, but now the state of mind of people is like America. No one is responsible for their own foot. It's always someone
Mm.
else's fault. So that's why
Yeah.
now everyone has to look like, listen, now when a child start walking, I think he needs to sign a form like saying, look, I start walking, I'm responsible for my feet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it should be renewed like every 10 years or something. Because people have to say, listen, I fell off. It's your fault. No, it's your feet. Well, why are you blaming someone else? But that's
Mm.
the culture now. No one is responsible for their own ass.
Mm.
No,
Mad, isn't it? Have
very,
you
very.
have you lived elsewhere in other than the UK and France, obviously?
Yeah,
Have you
in
lived
France.
elsewhere in the world?
No, in France. I was born in Africa, but I can't remember much. Can just
Mm.
remember the zoo, something with
Mhm.
the beach, and
Oh,
yeah, the gorilla. I was scared of it. I remember that shit.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So,
Oh,
but yeah, basically in France, and there's not such a big gap.
no. I
Never
wonder
seen
what it's
that.
like. So Japan have the world class railways, don't they? I wonder what that's like. I don't know if anyone's been to Japan. I know my niece has been to Japan. So Richard, if he's still watching, if you can tell us what the trains are like in Japan, if you know from my niece telling us. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Especially like, if you've only lived in Britain. Like I've been to other countries. I can't. Oh, the only thing I remember about trains in other countries is that France. It's so quick, isn't it? The train is brilliant because you can get on the train and within a couple of hours you're the other end of the country. Whereas in Britain, like I live in Swansea in South Wales, we're only 200 miles from maybe 300 miles from London. It takes 3 hours on the train to get to London. It shouldn't need to take that long.
I've got no idea what's
Crazy.
going on with the infrastructure here. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
What's going on? And every time, yeah, there is a engineering work. What are you doing, people? Actually, I know what they're doing. They're doing nothing. I know a lot of track engineers and say, oh yeah, we start at this time, but actually we start at 8, but actually we have a coffee, so we start at 10, and then we finish early. I'm like, no wonder there's engineering work all the time. You guys are not working.
Yeah. Oh, and we gotta have our break. We've just done an hour's work. We gotta have our break now. Cup of tea, biscuit. Let's have a bourbon.
Yeah.
I've been quite fortunate. I've in Belgium, it's free. It's half price on the weekend. I think now it's free. Luxembourg, it's the same, and they're all clean. Time in Germany, you get the double-decker ones, and it's all really cheap. The ones in Switzerland were like being on some sort of like the Orient Express. They're absolutely amazing. And then you get here, and they'll put one carriage on for peak hour, and you get in, and it reminds you of a documentary of India, where everyone's just like, keep moving, keep moving.
And you better be grateful.
Some guy with his arm.
You better be grateful for that tin can. I love it because I used to work in Cardiff. I love it. It'll be rush hour, and you go in the carriage, and it's just people with their bag on the seat next to them, and they're like, they look like, you dare come and sit in the seat next to me. My bag is in that seat, and they're going to defend that seat. I'm like, grow up. We've all bought a ticket. We're all going to sit on these seats. Move your bag. No bed.
Yeah.
And then the elbows, the argument with the elbows on the seat and everything. Oh my god. But I do love a train. I love traveling by train. I haven't been on one since the lockdown though. I haven't had the privilege of wearing a mask on public transport yet. What does Hugh say?
Hugh is saying humans should evolve into being born with 3 legs, hence we would all be more stable.
Hey.
So
human
third leg.
They will still fall.
Yeah.
I went to my nearest town recently. I managed to get first class travel for just a tenner. So I was sat, I mean, it's not long enough to actually get any like one stop, but I just knew that I wasn't going to be anywhere near anyone. So I sort of got into town. We met at the nearest pub on the outskirts of the beer garden, where we sat sort of 4 meters away from each other. Hello, how are you? And then got the train back in, just not near anyone. And I felt like I felt like I was going on holiday. Just the simple act of going 20 miles away on a train, sitting near people, and then coming back, I was like, I've just been abroad.
But it's the same thing when you come from London to like Scotland. You know, when you think about Scotland, I would take maybe 4.5 hours in train, and I'm like, hold on, in 2.5 hours I can be in Paris. You know, it's like, okay, that's a bit odd, but it's like, but you go to Edinburgh, it's a different manners, different accent, and it's like, yeah, it is kind of abroad, except that no one check your passport. You know, it's so weird. Yeah,
and I wonder, what is it going to be like now with the Brexit, going to like France and with the Eurostar in Paris and that? Will they have to get visas? We have to apply?
Well, you guys, that's the thing. Right. You didn't think it through. You know what I mean? You say, oh yeah, let's put the foreigners out. Actually, you're the one who is in shit when you travel, because I've got my French passport. I'm allowed to stay here anyway. So when I'm going and come back, I don't have any problem. It's you guys.
You know what I mean? Tell me about it. I'm so gutted. I'm still gutted about it. Honestly, I cannot believe still that we voted to leave as a. I didn't. Let me tell you that now, because my whole career I've worked with contracts that are funded by the European Union. Everywhere you look, there's a European Union flag funded by the. There's a place, Ebbw Vale. It's basically funded by the European Union, and they voted to leave. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. But the travel alone is worth being in the European Union. I'm just so gutted about it. It's crazy.
I think people have the fake opinion of themselves in the international platform. You know, they think that it's not the great empire anymore. Who give a shit? It's a little UK.
Yeah.
You know,
it's propaganda. It's what we're being told all the time, that UK is the best, Great Britain, that we're fantastic, that our NHS is the best. But I'm going to get death threats now. But I teach English as foreign language sometimes, and the Polish people that I teach, are the Eastern European people. Oh my God, they're really highly educated. They bloody love a certificate. They're like, they'll do anything to get a certificate. They love collecting them. And they're just, my impression of them is they're just fantastic. I think it would be better if everybody had a bigger view and just opened their experience a bit more. You know, we should all travel around Europe. We should all, you know, I think the government should pay for every single one of us, because not everyone, like I wouldn't have been able to afford to when I was a teenager, but we should, the government should pay for us all to have a gap year, is what I'm saying. And we should all have to travel to other countries to see what it's actually like. And not just fall for the Daily Mail propaganda of we're the best and foreigners are evil. It's just so much bullshit. And the only positive thing I think is that, you know, there's loads of us a bit lefty. I'm a bit lefty, centre left. And I just think there's loads of us that don't feel that way. That, you know, it was just so close with Brexit. That just get in. I just can't believe
it wasn't just all about lefty, right, or something, because there's always some good ideas coming from the right and bad ideas coming from the left. It's just that I think it wasn't think through properly. But at the end of the day, it's been voted. Let's go forward and see what's happening. I know I can travel. You guys are fucked. But here we go.
I love that.
As long as I can go to Calais, get my French food, come back. That's all that matters, because I'm not eating your stuff anyway. So
I love that energy.
What I am going to do as a driver, I'm going to steer this conversation away from Brexit, because it's just comedy culture. But what I am going to say is, you did mention this town, and we do like to ask our guests, were you going to go to Edinburgh, or are you sat feeling quite smug that you weren't?
Don't put out talking about me, because I saw you guess. Sorry, in my head was like people are online putting things. Actually, this year was supposed to be my year compared to the other years for myself, because that was the first time I was going to do the whole month in Edinburgh Festival, because I'm not older comedian.
You're building momentum, Arielle, because you're winning competitions. I looked at your CV.
I'm not winning shit. I'm not winning shit. I should have won all of them. Yes. Yeah. There's something about me that judges are like, no. Although, because I understood that now, comedy is not about making people laugh. Not in this country. It's about writing style. You know, is she marketable? Is she offending people? Yes, I'm offending people. I'm just giving my ideas. You know what I mean? But if it's funny, it's funny. No, not in the UK. No. Right. So anyway, that was supposed to be my year. For the first time, I was going to have the whole month. I'm a single mom, working in a foreign country, a certain age. So it's not, I don't have my parents to give me £10,000 every year to go to Edinburgh. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't prostitute myself for any gig or whatsoever. And I'm a bit vexed that no one asked me, by the way, but never mind. That's something else. But so it was my first time, guys, and all this happened. But it's okay, because everything I asked the one who does the rota, she's giving me for next year, so I'm happy. So everything's gonna be back for next year, and that will give me more time to write my solo show that I've been trying to write for 3 years, and I'm just being so lazy, guys. I don't know.
Why are you being lazy? Come on. But you're not being lazy. You're a single working mum. I think that has a lot to do with it. Kind of carve out a bit of
it's not that lazy.
No.
I know, but I've got an idea of my first show. I want it to be funny. And I know that funny for a first show is not what they're looking for, but it's about me, isn't it? Because I know from what I see, a lot of funny shows actually don't win shit, you know? Because you need to appeal to a certain standard, and you know, you read some reviews like, oh yes, this act it wasn't really funny. There was some funny part, but it's very good because it's talking about social issue and everything. I'm like, oh, isn't it supposed to be funny? They're saying in the review, it's not really funny. So why are you giving 4 stars? I don't understand. It's under comedy.
Yeah.
But again, it's my point of view. I don't get it. And I'm like, I don't want to get it because obviously I can't get it. But I'll do what I want to do. If people love it, fine. If they don't, I expect already to have 1 star or 2 stars, but I know it's going to be brilliant. So it's all about me, we'll see.
Well, I was looking at your stand-up earlier from the gig on your YouTube channel, the one that you did in February, and I'm like, straight away, you come on, you're like a force of nature, and straight away, funny, funny, funny. And I would much rather watch that. Well, I like a bit of everything, but I'm like, if you came on at the local glee club or the stand or somewhere, I would be straight away like, brilliant, because you are very, very funny. It was hilarious. I can't wait to come and see your show. I think it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, you need to go. It's going to be brilliant in my head. That's what I like to do in my head.
Yeah. I mean, have you been to Edinburgh? Have you visited the festival?
Yes, I do. I go 1 week, 5 days. You know, I always love to go and watch different comedian or people, some of my friends, and, you know, get inspired. And when it's funny, I love different things, you know. I love when it's funny. I just like, but the thing is, it's very hard to go through the reviews because I don't believe those stars. Because that's, for me, it's like, as soon as you're in the big Pleasance, Gildeon, or those big ones, you paid for your stars. You're already 4 stars because you paid the fees.
Yeah.
You know,
also, a lot of those actors got agents and managers.
Yes, I would go for people point of view, you know, real people, and say, I love this show. Say, okay, let me have a look. But I'm not going for stars because they're all fake. Well, some of them are very good, true. But which one? When you have so much choice, you don't know.
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine who shall remain nameless in case, because he might be a bit gutted I'm giving away the secret. He said to me what he does with his shows, he will, towards the end, he will encourage everyone to go on TripAdvisor, I think, or on his Facebook or somewhere, and give him the stars, and they're genuine, what they thought of the show, and give a comment, whatever. And then he would go to a local print shop, he would get it typed up, he would take a comment from the actual audience and how many stars the audience give, print that out, and then staple it to the flyers for that day. And that's how he gets people in. And like I did my first Edinburgh show a couple of years ago, and my advice to anyone would be to just do it. I started about 10 years ago, and when you're starting out and you haven't got a frigging clue what you're meant to be doing, and you know, you take advice off people that you know, and at the time it's like the people that I knew were like, oh, it's just a trade fair, oh, you know. And now I'm like, I wish I'd just gone up, done 10 minutes, done a mixed show, just to experience it, because you learn so much. If you're not one of the lucky ones that just win everything and get an agent within the first 2 years, you are doing it for yourself, and you've just got to do whatever frigging works, isn't it? And it's the action of doing it. I just learned that first year. I only did like 5 days, but I learned so much. It was so much fun. It was terrifying, but then the next year I was like, oh my god! And you just learn so much as you go every year. And one of the main things for me was, oh my god, like locally, you know, you have your people locally, and you get a sense of who you are in your local scene. And then you go, and I bet it's, you know, it's even bigger in London than it is in Wales, in South Wales. And you go to Edinburgh and you're like, oh my God, I'm literally just one of thousands of people. And it, you know, it does get everything into perspective then, that you're like, oh, this would be like winning the lottery. And another thing as well, I didn't realize you have to go and persuade reviewers to come and see your show. They don't just turn up. You got to go. There's a web like a thing, a marketing thing. You need to apply to the actual Fringe, Edinburgh Fringe, and you know, and you get to go to all these seminars and things, and you have to go to where the journalists and the reviewers turn up to try and schmooze them and persuade them to come and see your show. Because if you haven't got an agent and you're not in one of the big 4 venues, you will know. And especially if you're with PBH, because PBH are brilliant, they're socialists. So many people just wouldn't have a chance to do Edinburgh at all without PBH, which is the free Fringe. But that I didn't realise that till last year. I was like, oh God, I'll just do a 45-minute show in case I get reviewed. I didn't want to get reviewed because I'm quite experimental. and which is code for not working hard enough on it, by the way. And I just thought, oh, I thought if I just do a 45-minute show, I won't get reviewed. And then I was like, last year, I realized, no, I won't get reviewed unless I drag the bloody reviewers in, and please come and see me. Please come and review my show. It's, you know, you learn all these things just by being up there and having a show in there as well. Because I've been going to Edinburgh for years.
Yes, I decided for my first one, I don't want to be stressed. I don't like being stressed. I want to enjoy the damn thing. So I decided to go with AAA. And so I could experience this whole month without being stressed too much. You know what I mean? And because of COVID, maybe next year I will have my own show at the same time. So maybe I will not have to do Edinburgh again for the whole 10 months because, you know, I have to play nice at work because I know in my head I'm going to have to ask something from them. You know, so like, oh, yeah, can you do overtime? Okay, no problem. Because I know what I want from them. Edinburgh is fascinating. Have you done Edinburgh, Lucy? Yes, you were working on...
I'm brand new. I am brand new as a stand-up comedian. In my jobs before I was doing trucks, I was doing festivals and events as event management and site management. So I've always worked during the summers. The idea of being able to go to Edinburgh, that's my peak employment period. So I was really looking forward to going up to Edinburgh this year as a punter and seeing this Disneyland for the first ever time and watching everyone running around and flyering and getting a sense of what it is. Because I think it's Louise Lee that said, you know, we've got one chance to be there for the first time, to see Edinburgh for the first time. And I was really like, you know, what about me? I wanted to see all you guys do your shows. and also what makes me quite laugh is I don't know if you were part of it, but there was a Facebook group a couple of months ago which was pretending that Edinburgh was on. It was like a group for people that are pretending that Edinburgh Fringe is on. And it was funny. And then it got closed down because people weren't being realistic enough, even though it was a pretend group full of only comedians pretending it was on. And it was like, look, it's all fun, but this group shouldn't be around yet because Edinburgh's not actually on. You know, you need to take this group seriously.
And I think someone made the comment.
Some comedians aren't funny.
I think so when it got, I think it went off into, it was like Life of Brian. It went off into splinter groups, didn't it? Splitters. And I think someone made the comment of like, oh, this group's gonna get closed. I was like, oh, this is why we can't have nice things because that's just comedians all over, isn't it? It's a group of people all over, isn't it? If you get more than 100 people, it's so hard to do anything, you know, the politics and stuff. It's amazing that we work as a society at all, really, isn't it?
It's just getting out of control, just out of control.
It was lovely to see that group, though, because I was like, oh, Edinburgh. But, yeah.
Think of all the money everybody is saving.
When Edinburgh happened and all the comedians on the Facebook is like, oh, yeah, I had 3 stars. Oh, I had a full house. And like, oh, shut the fuck up. I'm home. You know what I mean? What is it? You know, kind of, why do you need to do that to people? You're having a great time, good for you. You had a full bucket, good for you. I'm saying that because obviously I'm not doing it, but I don't know if I will do that when I be in Edinburgh, you know. So I don't really.
I just ask, if you were to put a 4-star review on poster and just make up the name of a publication, what would happen?
I don't know.
What, like you make up your own reviews?
I could say, 5 stars, Noel Orchard. No one knows that's my brother. Or maybe I'll change the surname just to be a bit more sneaky. But 5 stars, Noel Hughes. There we go.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if that already happens. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Yeah.
Because it's all marketing. Like if you were selling stuff on eBay, there are companies that you can pay to do lots of 5-star reviews for you, it's no different, really.
It does give a problem, because when I done So You Think You're Funny, I went through. I was going to the final, and in between, it took few weeks, to go to the final, and someone sent email to the producer that I wasn't a new act, and I'm like, no, I had to say no, I qualify for the damn thing. And then I went online. So some of my friend promoters said, no, go online and just say what, Then I went online, and a promoter, like back in the days when I was, just a little thing, just started, just make up a quote for me for his own night, pretending like winner of this and that. And that shit went to bite me. So I have to explain to So You Think You're Funny that, listen, this is a made-up quote. I didn't win nothing. It's just like, it's a made-up quote. This is my first competition. So you never know. You say, oh, well, promoters, they think they're just making up things for themselves, for people to come and, come to their doors. And then this shit came to me. So I was nearly disqualified.
That's awesome. That's such a good competition, even to be a finalist. That's amazing, that competition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. At one point, you want to win something when you're so close. It's like, why am I never winning nothing? And then you look at the review. I'm not watching reviews anymore. When I've been in Edinburgh, I will not. Except if someone say, oh yeah, you got a 5-star there or whatever. Yeah, I would just have a quick look. But until I'm into Edinburgh, I will not read reviews, because that would just break me. Because I'm like, when I did So You Think You're Funny, something happened just few hours before the final. I was working so many gigs. Somehow, I black out. I fell in the street, and I broke my arm. Now, I went to hospital. I didn't sleep I was high on medication. So I was like, I'm still going to do that competition. I don't care. But I was in pain, proper pain. I broke my arm just a few hours ago. So I was all there, like, so I had the whole thing on my arm. And like, oh, promoter was like, what happened to you? Oh, I broke my arm. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, really? So anyway, I was just, I'm such a good actress. I was just pretending I'm fine. I'm on drug plus coffee. Not the good thing, because I didn't sleep. So I did my thing. But obviously I can't rewrite a new set, but I had to talk about, okay, why my arm is like that. So I just made up something. Oh, guys, someone else broke his arm this morning. And everyone, I had a good laugh, and then went on with my set. Come on, it's a competition. I can't improve like that. I'm in pain. I don't have this time, I read the review. One wrote like, oh yeah, she started with that joke. That was very good. I wish she'd have talked more about that. I'm like, hello? What actually happened? It wasn't a prop. It happened. I broke my arm, guys. No one mentioned my bloody arm. No one mentioned that I broke my arm. And I was bloody good, man. I did my bloody competition 4 hours before I broke my arm. No one cared. If it has been the X Factor, I would have won the damn shit. You know what I mean? Nothing. Yeah. Oh, she didn't win, but bloody hell. She just broke her arm and she went through this shit,
Yeah. Dr. Adrenaline, they say, isn't it? You can just get on stage.
I'm still pissed off at this,
I got a sense of that.
Use the space, Gary. Use the space.
Yeah. I've never been that good at competitions. I made it to the final. There's the Welsh Unsigned Stand-Up Award. And it went for 10 years, and they stopped a couple of years ago because it was getting expensive. It was a good competition because it's £1,000 prize, and anyone in Wales entered it. And you just had to have a tenuous connection to Wales in the end. You could either have lived here, have a grandma, really tenuous connection. And I have, most years I made it to the semi-final. There was one year I went, screw this, I'm not frigging entering it. And that year there weren't any women in the final anyway. And I get roasted on Facebook for going, oh, there doesn't seem to be any women in comedy anymore, because that year it was there were no women in the final of our local competition. There was no one in the final of the BBC New Act Award. that year, but that was 5 years ago. And I made it to the final, the very last one. So, and I was like, you know, that moment you think, ooh, before they reveal the winner, and you're like, ooh, I could win. I could actually win this. And I was actually quite excited for the money because I was skint. And no, Callum Stewart won. He very well deserved it. But I learned so much from just keep going back, keep going, you know, not taking no for an answer. But yeah, competitions are the worst, I
Yeah,
think.
I hate it. I did the BBC last year because I'm like, you know, it's my first clean set. I think this set is possible for BBC, and they did, but it was still a risky set because I was talking about kids slapping kids. So I was like, okay, I'll go through the shortlisted thing, but I know that set cannot win. It's BBC for goodness sake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. But I don't write for the BBC because I am not a clean act. If I feel like fuck this shit, they told me to remove motherfucker, and I'm like, no, this is the punchline. Like, no, you need to remove mother. I'm like, oh, come on. I've said with a French accent. It's cute. Said, no, you remove motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway.
It's like, and you can tie yourself into knots trying to appease these competition, you know, and go, oh, well, you know, and but you still want to be yourself as an act, isn't it? You still want to write your joke. I think you can get really messed up.
But sometimes I just wish I was one of them, you know what I mean? It would be so much easier. But at the end, I've got my own individuality, and I'm not a good writer. Like, you know, you watch some comedian like, wow, this is very good writing. You know what I mean? Funny and like, wow. But there's no way I can be like that. You know what I mean? This is not me. But I'm like, and those people are the ones that you see on TV, and you know, they will write for other people because their writing is wonderful. It's not my style. I mean, I wish I could write like that, but come on. Yeah, I give up on it.
One thing I've noticed as well about a lot of the TV acts, and I'm just going to sound like a bitter old bitch right now, but I'm just like, oh, they all seem to have gone to university. Quite a lot of them. They seem to be that level of education. There's, you know, very few working class comedians. I'm somewhere in between. I've got an A level, 2 A levels, and I got my PGCE, and I've done, but I haven't been to uni, and I don't know. I just think, oh, just got to do your thing, isn't it? You're going to do your thing, do who you are, and you're very individual. You know,
I'm going to counteract that. There was, I'm 39, and I went to university, but especially just after me, everybody went to university.
You went to uni.
I went to university, but it was just, and it was almost like 80% of everybody went to university when I went. And then after me, it was like 100%. And they were going to do courses that were absolute bollocks. You know, Klingon, movie studies, tourist and leisure. That, you know, and it was like, you'd say to people, what are you doing in university? I'm here for the experience. That and the 21 grand in student loans you're going to walk away. Cheers, Tony, for that one. And it is a case of, you know, especially with the students I was teaching, everybody was going to university, and you'd say, well, what for? And they'd go, well, to go to university. And it's like, no, what subject are you going to go for? I don't know, whatever I feel like when I'm just about to apply, whatever the lowest grades can get me in on. And they just wanted to go because
for the party.
Just for the party. Nobody ever assumes nowadays. Well, yeah, but people don't assume now having a degree gets you a job. You know, if you want to meet a bunch of qualified people, get yourself down the supermarket and interview everybody in the warehouse and stacking the shelves, because you'll have philosophy, RE, maths. Everybody's got a degree, but nobody's applying their degree. It was really pushed, especially when I was teaching sort of 2004 to 2010, just pushed down their throats. You're going to university. Why? Because I said so. And unfortunately now that means that all our university competition, they all look like Adrian Mole.
I think they were like it as well. they were told that they go to university, you'll get a better job, you'll get more money, and that isn't necessarily the case either.
Yeah, but in the artists, when I do some university gigs or whatever, I could see that they've got theaters, they've got groups for improv. You know, for people who are artistic, they've got this possibility to explore and everything. And I wish I had that. You know what I mean? Just to widen my. You know, I started late, and then I had to learn everything, plus do it in an English. You know, the process is very difficult, and I'm like, you know, I look at those young people; they're just free. You know, it's like
they got no experience. I don't get why. Why is there anyone who's 18 doing comedy? What have we got to talk about?
Well, if they're funny, it doesn't matter. I think.
Yes. But I think I would much rather listen to a woman in her 30s and 40s or even late 20s because they've had a bit of life experience.
Yeah, but they can be a bit boring sometimes. I don't know. I don't think there's any age. It's just like when you start young, then when you get older, you have to get better. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you start older, then you got this restricted time to get better. You got the experience, but you still have to learn how to be good on stage. While they also do that. When you're young, you don't care. You know, this freedom of things, you don't care. But anyway.
They've got that lack of fear, haven't they, the younger? And when you get older, you've got all the bloody responsibility.
When I was in uni, I didn't do any societies. None. I mean, if there was a drama society, I didn't know about it because you sort of did your lessons, and as soon as the lesson finished, you were in the pub. Societies took up drinking time. I went to university in South Wales, so maybe it's different, but it is a case of, you know, you still start seeing the end of the lesson, you all start twitching, you know, doing that really slow, you start trying to pack your books up without the teacher noticing. So the minute he says you can go, you're like, I've pints.
Well, it's 4 p.m. I got a pint waiting for me in the pub. Yeah.
Yeah,
there is a big drinking culture in Wales. I have to start wrapping this up, Arielle, but I want to thank you so much for persevering with the perspiration. There's a little bit of wordplay there. But what we like to do, rinse our guests and ask is if there's any comedians that you think you might want to put forward for us to get in touch with that would enjoy coming to the kitchen sink, because it was Jenny Collier that put yourself forward for the hot seat.
Because I'm not really in touch or close to Jenny. I met her twice, that's it, and we hardly talk. So I was like, why? Oh, she's setting me up. What's going on? So I'm very surprised. Thank you to her. Maybe I should just send her a message. But yeah, I need to know what maybe all the other names she gave were not willing to do it. Or
no, she said you. You were the first one, wasn't it? Is that contact Arielle, wasn't it? Yeah.
So weird.
You must love your act.
But, I mean, you know, I don't think she hates me. I don't hate her, or you know what I mean. But there is never any like, oh, let's have a drink or talk. We know. We just like at the gig that, oh, you Arielle. I heard about you. Say, oh, cool. And obviously, I heard about her because she's doing so well, and she's got this Welsh thing that, sorry, I don't understand. That's the thing is, a lot of comedian, I'm just like, I don't understand any of the jokes.
Yeah, it's a lot of wordplay, isn't it?
It's not my language, and also there's a lot of reference, and then she got jokes in Welsh, and I'm like, this is a bit too much for me, guys. Just too much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm very happy and surprised. I'm gonna message her. I'm like,
oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. If you can think of anyone that you would like to have a kitchen sink experience, if you could let us know, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
it's very nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for sparing your time. We really appreciate it.
Your details on the page.
Yes,
so I put your details here. And if people go to your website and they go to the bottom of the page, they'll see links to your Facebook and your Twitter, so they can use that one location to get your social media.
Yes, I'm more on social media than on my website, actually, because I'm not such a good comedian online.
Yeah.
So,
I've got a website. I send I send people to my website because just like you, I've got the Twitter and the Facebook links because it's easier for people to just remember my name and to get the social media from there. Like the website does not update people, but the buttons you need are right at the bottom.
No. And there is no gig at the moment, so I'm supposed to go there. Like, sorry, no gig, but it's still there. Anyway, I shouldn't say that. Don't socialize. I'm a good comedian. Okay, that's
very funny. I'm looking forward to seeing you next year in Edinburgh, if not before. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
You'll see our handbags on our laps waiting like that. Go on. Thank you so much. You've had
yes, nice chat. Cool.
Thank you very much, sweetheart.
Thank you. Take care now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Ah, she's
we do it every week. We do it every week. But I really enjoyed her. I watched her. Did you went on her website and saw the same stand-up that I saw? And you know how we've so far with our stand-up comedy reviews, we've had not Jack Johnson, Jim Jeffries, Michael Biglia, and we've had Tiffany Haddish. So you've got your comes on and tells some jokes. You've got Tiffany Haddish comes and punches you in the face, and I think you've got Jim Jeffries in the middle. She's definitely towards the Tiffany Haddish side end of it than a Michael Biglia side of it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. But everybody. Yes, and if you go on ariellesouma.com, like I said at the very bottom in little black letters, there you've got the Facebook F and the little Twitter birdie symbol, and that will take you to her more up-to-date social medias.
Yeah, definitely, as they say in the biz, one to watch. And if you're a promoter, check her out. She's very funny. I can't wait to get her. And whenever I put another gig on, I'd love to have her on a lineup. She's very funny, very great. If that's the phrase,
yes,
very great.
She just got great presence. And with some comedians, their words fill the room, but with her presence filled the stage. I felt. I never got around to asking her though, because that one clip of her at the top secret comedy club, easier for you to say. Oh, they seemed chatty in there. I don't know if I'd end up running around the room going, "Shut up!
Don't you know who's on the stage?"
So I'm going to press. Right, there we go. So it's time for that. So what I'm going to say is, I'm going to click this off, and then I'm going to do this brand, and I'm going to press this.
Mother lives at the Shady Pines retirement home.
Oh, the Shady Pines. I know the Shady Pines is a lovely place.
It's a prison. They lock us in our rooms and force us to look like we're having fun. Then they take pictures for their brochure.
Ma, you know that's not true.
So good. Short but very sweet. Very good. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh yes, for our audio listeners, we just played a clip of the Golden Girls, but due to the fact franchise, I didn't want to play too much in case they sued us.
When in doubt, 20 seconds. No, it was really good. Right, who do you want to go first?
It's one of. I'm gonna let you go first because I nominated it.
Okie doke. Right, so I watched episode 1, which is the link that you sent to me, this weird website. I'm not sure what the website was, but here are my thoughts. Best opening theme ever. I mean, it's right up there with the Cheers theme, isn't it? Everywhere, it's a classic song. Fantastic. I noticed it's written by a woman. I didn't write down the name of that woman, Helen something, but written by a woman, sharp as a tack. Sharp, sharp, sharp. Every single line is a joke. Really, I think it could be an example of a perfect first episode of any sitcom. It didn't feel like the first episode. I had to double check. I was like, is this actually the first episode? Because this feels like this is the second series or something. They're just recapping who everyone is. From the first 10 minutes, you knew all the main characters, you knew their traits, you could identify with them absolutely straight away. Really well written. And the actors are also bloody young. They're all playing people, retired people in their 60s and 70s. And it's like, they look in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think I remember it being on like S4C or S4C or the Welsh Channel 4, and it would be on at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so you'd get home from school, watch a bit of the Golden Girls or Blockbuster until Blockbusters was on sometimes. And I didn't really get it. And now I'm the perfect age for it. I'm 47. I am the right age. And I have to say, it's definitely, before when you nominated it, I'm like, yeah, I know it's a great thing. I'm aware of it. I've watched it. I know it's going to be brilliant. Probably I'm not going to watch it. But now I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to have that on my rotation. I'm going to look forward to it. And I got to say as well, the theme. In the first episode, they talk about elderly sex, that older people wanting sex. And she, Blanche she's dating all the time. She gets a date at her husband's funeral. Blanche does, because she's such a man-eater. And Rose is like, because she can't be single, if you know what I mean, and it's like, oh my, so they talk about elder sex. They talk, the mother's had a stroke. They don't shy away from it. It was just brilliant. I absolutely have a gay character. It's totally ahead of its time. Bearing in mind it was the 80s that it was out. I bloody loved it. So thank you, Lucy, for being a friend and nominating the Golden Girls. I loved it. It was brilliant. How about you? I'm trying to see what Hugh's saying.
Right, this is what really blew my mind. Okay, so when the show began. Right, so episode 1, Betty White was 63. B. Arthur was 63.
Right.
Rue McClanahan was 51.
She the one who played Blanche.
Estelle Getty was 62.
Yeah, I remember that she was younger than her daughter. The actress was younger than the one playing her daughter.
She's walking around complaining.
But in Hollywood standards, anyone over the age of 40 might as well be dead, isn't it? So the fact they've got a program about women and their retired women, it's just phenomenal. You have we got Frankie and on with Jane Fonda, on Netflix, but nowhere else. But anyway, sorry, Lucy, go on. I just think it's phenomenal.
We've got a question in from Hugh Janus. Can you name the famous Hollywood director who played an Elvis impersonator in an episode?
I don't know it, but I'd love to hazard a guess at Rob Reiner.
I'm going to say Ron Howard. No, he'd be too young. I don't know. You're going to have to tell us. It's
a great question. Thank you.
So with the famous Victoria, what Victoria Wood's right hand girl, educating
Julie
Rita, Julie Walters, because she's been playing like a 60-year-old since she was 20. She's been able to age over the last 60 years. It's ridiculous. They, for her to be 51. For Blanche Devereaux to be Quentin Tarantino. Really?
I can't imagine. I'm having that for the family quiz. Thank you, Hugh.
Have that for the family quiz, love. I can't imagine him being able to interact with normal people or be surrounded by strong, independent women that wouldn't take his shit, but who knows?
He's probably 12 back then.
Yeah, and he comes around as a feminist. He for those fun facts, I really would get people for Quentin Tarantino's love of feminism to research his behaviour on Kill Bill with Uma Thurman. So she was 51 and she's playing a woman that's basically living in a retirement home, or at least a retirement setup. It's not a retirement complex. It's not like they've moved to
It's your own house.
It's a house. And it was such an important first episode to establish that it's Blanche's house, and that Betty White, Rose and B, found a postcard and moved in with her. And their husbands have come and gone, and they obviously didn't want to go into some sort of retirement environment. Ooh, retirement environment.
And they might not have the money. The impression I got is that Rose and B probably didn't have the money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if you get a lot of adverts on your TV for that J. McDonald retirement bungalows.
Oh.
Right. So for our international viewers, with the adverts that I watch a lot of I watch a lot of programs that are aimed at older people. So I love my Miss Marple, Agatha Christie dramas, and I am not the demographic. It is people that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s are meant to be watching this. And every advert is an advert for these retirement homes. And the prices are extortionate. You never own them. And then each year they make the surcharges non-optional and even bigger. And it's terrible. The amount of money we waste. We do not look after our elders here. But there's a brilliance of this where they say we're older women, but we've got the strong characters and they're in charge of the show. And you get a feeling that Betty White by then had already had the Betty White show.
Betty White had an amazing career, didn't she?
B. Arthur had already been on Maud. I'm not quite sure about Blanche's background. But Estelle Getty, Sophia, she had already had huge names. Someone's up early. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
I'm 61. Maybe I could be an all-male refit, the Brassy Boys. But it really is. They stand on stage, and each one of them holds equal amount of attention. There's not, so it's not like the Mary Tyler Moore show where she stands on and just does the reaction, and everybody else is a co-star.
Yeah,
it is an ensemble piece, and that's what I love about it. And what makes me worry now, as I try to think, apart from It's Always Hot in Cleveland, I can't think of a sitcom with just all women. And the kicker with It's Always Hot in Cleveland is Betty White was in it. So and I just worry.
Sorry, go on.
I just worry that somewhere in Hollywood, all female cast has been ticked as we've had our show now.
Yeah, it better not. I really hope not. I think with the #MeToo thing, and then realizing that it's ridiculous. Do you know what, Lucy? I was because I've been on my own a lot lately, and I was having a think, and I'm like, how crazy is it that not everything, but it does seem to be that so much stuff is from a white man's point of view. How fucking, from films to TV, radio, how fucking boring is it? We've just got such a brilliant world full of, diversity, and half of us are women. To go, we've got one of those. Fuck off, TV production companies. We need more. We want more of that.
If you are enjoying this review and you are a white male, we do want your opinion. Just join in on the chat.
But we get a lot of men watching, and we don't get many women, coming to chat with us.
No, women listen to the podcast and men join in the live chat. I just think that's our demographic. Right. But the thing is, with the Rhoda, with Mary Tyler Moore, with Golden Girls, especially Acorn Antiques, Dinner Ladies, all those kind of things. We've gone backwards in representation on screen, and we haven't gone forwards.
Right,
And
correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not that into BBC anymore. I'm Little Miss Netflix and maybe a bit too much Netflix. But I think in general, like, what was the last sitcom? Ghosts for
right,
me on BBC was a good sitcom. But
they
what, you know,
they did have the other one that was written by Holly Walsh that had Rebecca Front and Siobhan.
ah,
They had an all-female cast, but that is only 6 episodes of 20 minutes long.
yeah, was that Channel 4?
No, BBC.
Oh, I'm making a note. I'm gonna look out for that.
So I mean, we could.
It's
I mean, it seems to be, if there's an all-female cast now, it's like a charity fucking gig.
Yeah, I gotta
It's a
say, I love
special thing.
Motherland. Motherland, that's another brilliant one. I can't wait for the next series of that. That's really good. But yeah, it feels like, oh, I hope it's changing. I really, and it wasn't quite a sitcom. Daisy Haggard did one last year. She wrote one about a woman that she had committed a crime. It was when she was a teenager, and she goes to Afterlife. No, it wasn't Afterlife. It was out the same time as Afterlife last year, and it was about a woman who goes to prison at teenage, and she's come out in her 30s. And what was the name of that?
Fuck. What was the name of that
Yeah,
now?
but it was
Oh, it was like it
it was
was
something like Afterlife, wasn't it? I'm googling Daisy Haggard, but just to, because this isn't a quiz, so we don't we can Google these things. But yeah, that was a really good one. We are getting more where women are writing and direct and creating a better environment on set. I was listening to her podcast when she was being interviewed by Adam Buxton, and she was like saying, she was like in charge. So she was like going, yeah, we are going to finish at 4:30. We're going to pick the kids up from school. So it's a better working
yeah,
environment, for any caregivers. Oh, yeah, Ab
yeah,
Fab, that's another one.
Ab
But it's
Fab.
got to be finished 20 years ago, though, isn't it? We kind of forget how long ago these things were. Dinner Ladies is
Yeah, I mean,
30
pretty
years
much
ago.
those wheels are no longer on fire.
The wheels have dampened out many moons ago.
Yeah, if anything, it's
Ah,
on bricks now.
absolutely.
And June Whitfield is no longer with us either.
Is she not?
I
She was like the British Betty White, wasn't she?
Yeah, because she took over. She did all the audiobooks for Miss Marple, you see. So I go to bed with June every night.
Ah.
I watched a Miss Marple the other day with June in it, who does all the
Yeah.
audio marples. She was one of the characters, which meant there was a double marple, like the universe should somehow implode, like a paradox. But I mean, if you think about it, there's. So, I love that program Staged with
Yeah.
David Tennant.
Back to Life, by the way.
Back to Life. That's it.
Name of that sitcom.
I love the program Staged with David Tennant and
Yeah.
Michael Caine, right? Have you seen any of it?
I've seen the first episode.
Right. Can you imagine that going ahead if it was 2 female characters?
It would have been genius if it had, but no, possibly not.
Because you needed the tired wives in the background looking after the men and the children as the vehicle.
I gotta say, Dairy Girls. Can I just say Dairy Girls?
I tried it. I didn't like that girl's face when she spoke. I just couldn't take to it, the blonde one.
It.
Every time I mean, and the thing is, their accents, only one of them sounded like she was from Derry.
All right, I don't know.
I
wouldn't know a Derry accent from a hole in the ground. Another example of mainly quite heavy female heavy cast.
Yeah, but it's just a case of you can instantly think of like Josh. All right, Josh is a single man. Yeah. Yes, there's a female character. But you got Alice James in it. You've got Josh Widdicombe playing it. You've got Jennifer Saunders' daughter, B.
Edmondson.
B. Edmondson in it, kind of thing. but it was more you're more
Girl.
likely to find male heavy with female supporting actors than
Yeah.
you are to find female driven vehicles. That's
Yeah.
the way I feel about it. And I even like when I watched the other day, randomly I watched My Family, that mid-90s TV sitcom from the BBC.
With Zoe
And
Wanamaker.
Zoe Wanamaker and Robert Lindsay. And she held her ground. She was not the beaten down,
Brilliant.
downtrodden wife. She was the matriarch
Yeah.
of the family. And it was Robert Lindsay who was the useless arsehole. You know, he's still the main character, still a main character, but she was the family rotated around her, not him. And I just worry that the more we review historical comedies, the more we're going to realize that we've gone backwards in the media.
Maybe. Well, hopefully not. I mean, we did have Fleabag, but I don't consider that a sitcom. I
don't
consider
consider
that funny drama. Lucy Autumn. Well, that is a conversation for another time.
I like you, Phoebe, but not Fleabag. Not for me.
I'm shocked. I am shook.
I watched
I'm lost for words.
that. What's that serial killer piece she was in? Killing Jane. What was it?
Eve.
Killing Eve.
Eve.
I
Killing
tried
Eve.
watching it because I love Grey's Anatomy, but I couldn't stick to it.
I watched the first series. I loved because I love Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but I couldn't, and I love Fleabag, but I couldn't do the second series.
Couldn't do second series. I watched all of the first series, even though I didn't enjoy it. I sort of, it was like, oh yeah, that's good. But second series, I was like, tapping out, can't do it. Fleabag, I watched all of series 1. Got to the end. I thought, is that the twist? I'm out. And then there was a second series, and I thought, you can stick that up your ass. I can't do that. Sorry, no, it's not for me.
It took me ages to watch it because I'm like, it feels like posh rich people get all the breaks. That's how I felt about it. I'm like, how am I going to relate to some posh rich, tall, skinny bird? How am I going to relate to that? You know, she's just going to get everything in life. And my friend just kept saying, just watch it, just watch it, just watch it. And I did, and I did love it. And I loved the second. I couldn't wait for the second series. I loved it. But let's just circle back briefly to the Golden Girls. Was there anything else you wanted to say about it?
What I wanted to say was Rose was always taking the mick out of being stupid. Always take the mick out. But she would land some of the best jokes. She's like, you know, she actually, Betty White auditioned for Blanche's role, and they gave her Rose's role. And the best thing was, I like the fact that she's looking through the script and she's like, all right, they've called me an idiot. They called me a nincompoop. They've called me the village idiot. I've got the funniest lines. I've got, look, the whole scene is about me. There, I've got the best line. It's like, okay, that's like Alan Davis on QI. You can take the mick out of me, but I'm the one with the longevity and the bank balance. And then with B. Arthur, she wasn't always just acerbic and strong. She was vulnerable when she wanted to be. So was Rose. So was Blanche. She would, you know, everyone goes, she's a man-eater. She's a cougar. Well, she's been a cougar now. But the time to be like, you know, I just miss my husband. I wish he wasn't dead. And the vulnerability. They all took it in turns to be headstrong, stupid, or vulnerable. And there was, and I don't think there was anything like that Sex and the City where it turned out they all fucking hated each other. I don't think. I mean, it turns out they said during takes,
Sex and the City had no heart.
No.
Sorry, but I talked over you again. I do apologize.
No, I mean, I was looking at facts about Golden Girls, and like Betty White would work. She would during takes, she'd go and talk to the audience because she's been filming in front of a live studio audience since the Battle of the Bulge. You know,
yeah.
Since Marconi went, I've got an idea for it's called television.
Yeah. I've got this idea. Talking pictures in your living room. Betty White's like,
I mean, there was just the level of script writing It wasn't given a second. It wasn't the B scripts because it was all the women.
Mm.
You couldn't give a B script to any of those women. They would have said, I'm going to change that line. You get the impression that it didn't take them season 3 to get producer credits.
Yeah.
Like I said, every line from most pilots, it takes a while for you to get the gist of who they are, what they're about, what the setup is. No, episode 1, bang, straight in your face.
And first 10 minutes, first line, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Sophia turns up and Blanche goes, well, I know she's had a stroke. And be
She can't help it. She can't help saying it. It didn't feel like it was shoehorned in either.
No.
You know? It's just a show not tell, isn't it? And although to be fair, they are just standing there talking to each other on a single shot set, but it is more show not tell. It felt like, oh, this is part of the story. You know, it's not just, oh, we'll crowbar. You know, when we'll crowbar this. The first episode of anything is it exposition? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
It's all that, isn't it?
I always give a new show 3 episodes. You cannot just judge it. You can't just go on one. Like The Trouble with Maggie Cole, which is on the iPlayer at the moment. 6 episodes. The first episode, fucking hell, it's slow. It's slow. Dawn French has written it. It's brilliant. She's Maggie Cole.
I love her writing.
And it's set in the Southwest. So I'm like, Dawn French, tick. Southwest, tick. And I'm just like, come on, Maggie. There's gotta be a plot coming soon. And then from episodes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're like, where's it gone?
Right.
Where's I want more. What do you mean it's over? But you're climbing uphill in episode 1, and then you're just skiing down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you wouldn't
find that.
BBC iPlayer.
Brilliant. I've got that on my list now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
as well.
they didn't tell her. We're both reading it.
I know, it's like, get me my readers.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. Next week I'm back on the computer. The screen is tiny. You might be able to see my face better. Tough shit. I'd rather look like I'm sitting in the dark because I can barely see anything.
Sarah, do you know what you could do? You could have your computer up on mute and your camera. So it means you can read the captions on your computer. It's okay. Between the 2 of us, raise your hand if you're an IT teacher.
Shut up.
2 of us.
Between 2 of us, yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that.
So, what I'm going to say is, before we wrap it up, the next choice is yours. What are we going to watch next week?
I would like to choose stand-up again.
Yep.
And I would like to choose Maria Bamford. I'm just actually tell you what. You are?
I've heard the name.
Right. Let me give you a bit of background while I bring up Netflix to see what's available, right? I love Maria Bamford. She's got a couple of clips that are my go-to favorites, like 2 15-minute clips on YouTube of her stand-up from years and years and years ago. And she's got a bit where she talks about she goes back to her small hometown in Duluth, Oklahoma, I think it was, somewhere in the Minnesota. And she runs into Christy, who's like, oh, she's just got all these characters. I love her. And she's just this unassuming, tiny blonde woman, and she does all these different characters and voices and stuff. But I just really like her stand-up. So I'm going to nominate Maria Bamford, but it depends on what she's got on Netflix, because...
Well, it says her first one was Burning Bridges. Is that up?
That is right. Now, Burning Bridges isn't my favourite. The one after that, my favourite. Now, this is on Google Play, so I'll see if it's on YouTube actually. And it's my favourite special. I think it's called The Win or Winning, right? So let's have a look for that. It's on Google Play. I doubt if she's got the full thing on YouTube.
Netflix is
anyway.
easy. I don't have Google Play, you see.
Aha. So
We've got Maria Bamford, the old baby.
Yeah.
We've got
again, I like it.
The special.
Yeah. Winner, I think. Right. Let's put it. How to Win, it's called. And
Lady Dynamite. In a series inspired by her own life.
Yes. But How to Win is on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube, is it?
I would like to nominate Maria Bamford, How to Win. And you can only hear it. It hasn't been recorded, so it's like an album. I will send you a link.
Yes, please. Right, let me just promote that there. So for everybody, I've just put it on the screen. It's Bamford. I assumed there was a P in it because I'm just, Bamford should have a P in it.
Bamford. How to Win. I love this
next
week. And I had tickets to see her in London, but then 2020 went, screw you. You're seeing nothing until next year. Hopefully she's working on material. She's married to an artist, right? And at their wedding, she dressed as as a hot dog, and he dressed as the bun, or the other way around. She's mental, and she's got these pug dogs. I love her. I just find her extremely original and funny. But anyway, I will say no more. So we'll see what you think.
Okay.
But I will not influence you any further.
Perfect. All right. Well, I've written that down. We've got our homework. Guys, we will be in touch next week. We've got possibility of next week's guest. I'll put it up on media when we've settled on it. But yes, be here at 6 p.m. I'd love to know in which places you all came from, because it's quite interesting having different people from different websites all coming together at one place. But good night.
Really, isn't it? Thanks, Hugh. Yeah. Thanks. Good night, ladies, says Hugh. Thank you, Hugh. Thanks for joining us if you did. Yeah, it's a bit weird for me because I don't get to see any of the comments. And normally we'd have all the comments on Twitch and we can chat back and forth, but it's all down to Lucy now. You get everything. I don't know. I can't do anything.
Gotta try it all. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Please keep listening in on Spotify or Podbean or whatever it is you find, or Apple Podcasts, the Kitchen Sink on there. Please give us a review. That's and a follow. That's really, really amazing of you all to do as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
so
5 stars. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, or we'll come and find you. We were 2 girls from Wales, basically. We're quite. I mean, I can do you with this nail file. Right, I'll see you next week, 6 p.m. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. A weird wave. Bye.
Bye.